Well, MatterRacingNews.com, Magic and Aaron here, and the Preakness Stakes is just around the corner. Aaron, with that in mind, we want to take a look at someone who's been following the sport for a while. Your 5 favorite Preaknesses since you've been following.
Yeah, and I've been following since the 2000s, very early 2000s. So, I can't go back past that because I just really didn't have a good feel for what was going on then. This is a lot of fun. I always love the Preakness. It's been over the years my favorite race. This is my personal top 5. You make sure to comment with yours as well. I mean, I'm not arguing that these are the 5 greatest performances of the 2000s. I'm just saying, personally, for me, when they happened, this was my favorite top 5.
When 2 of them we've seen Triple Crown winners, and I think that's where you're going to start off at number 5.
Yeah, number 5, I went with Justify, and admittedly, he's probably ranked a little higher until all kind of the Baffert stuff happened, but it's still pretty awesome. If you remember this race, it was in the fog. You could barely see anything. Of course, Justify had just won the Kentucky Derbies, and there was a real chance we all thought he could win the Triple Crown, but he's got to get through this and fog and muddy and rain. Couldn't see it the whole stretch, and then finally, well, I shouldn't say the whole stretch, but most of the stretch, finally they emerge from the fog where you can see, and it's like, oh my God, this is really close. Good Magic is right there. He puts away Good Magic, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my, Bravazzo, he's going to beat him, but then he was able to hold him off. So it's definitely one I'll never forget. I know Mike Somich was live there too, and he said a thing, he couldn't see anything, but he said the roar of the crowd with each section as they saw the horses kind of told that story until they got into his sight line. So that's one I'll never forget.
Not just that, but then also the famous award-winning photo of Justify jumping the tracks as he was running as well. It's just picture perfect for that animal. Justify 2018 wins the Preakness on his way to the Triple Crown. 3 years earlier, the first Triple Crown in a very long time occurred. American Pharoah had to win the Preakness Stakes, and that's number 4 for you.
Yep, number 4 for sure. I'll never forget this one either. 30, 20 minutes before an absolute monsoon hits Pimlico. It is a mess. There's a river running on the inside part of the rail. It's like, this is unbelievable. I know Pharoah likes the slop. I saw him win the Rebel in it, but this isn't slop. Like, this is like just a mess. And he gets out, they send him right to the front, and he just dominates that race, gate to wire. He turns for home, and I never will forget. I looked at Heather, my wife, and I said, we're on to the Belmont. This is over. She says, got the whole stretch to us. This is over. He just looks so good skipping across it. And so many other horses in that race that were contenders, like a Dortmund, like a Firing Line. Yeah, they didn't handle it quite like American Pharoah did. And no disrespect to them being meant by that. That was just a mess of a track that day. I remember being very calm until kind of the skies opened up. And it's like, well, I mean, this could go a lot of different ways now. Thank God it didn't.
Well, American Pharoah taking a gigantic win there, 7 lengths over Tale of Verve coming from last. We're going to go back a little bit further than that for some more history. It's kind of fitting, right? We have a filly going to win the Preakness Stakes again. We saw Swiss Skydiver do it. We're going to see if Secret Oath can do it this coming week. Rachel Alexander did in 2009, and that was a huge deal, Aaron.
The buildup for this race was just unbelievable because you had Rachel Alexandra, who a lot of people felt, and myself included, she's going to wax him. Like, she's got this thing. She is better than these horses. And she had been so good and so dominant in the Kentucky Oaks. By almost 20 lengths, she wins the Oaks. I mean, she was an incredible specimen. But she's taken on boys for the first time. We know that even with Secret Oath's situation, we'll talk about that a lot this next week. But Rachel was to the max because she had just been a dominant horse. But then you had the other side of it. Mind That Bird, which before last weekend was the most incredible Derby I've ever seen as far as an upset. Could he do it again? And it was just like this buildup of David versus Goliath, even though the filly was Goliath, So anyway, we get to the race. Well, first of all, she draws the 13 hole, and you're like, oh my gosh, worst post. Speed her out of there. She's flying. And it's like, oh my gosh, I don't know if she can hold on. She turns for home, and it's just her. And this is a great backdrop. I wish I had a picture of it on my computer. Her and a wall of boys behind her, like 2 or 3 leagues. And the whole stretch, you're just praying, hold on. And what made it even better, here comes Little Mind That Bird just flying late to get second. Never really a threat to beat her. But it made the last 100 yards a lot of fun because here come the Derby winner trying to catch the Kentucky Oaks winner. I'll never forget that one. That was amazing.
Well, and on top of that, Calvin Burrell road mined that bird to win the Derby. Stays aboard Rachel Alexandra after winning the Oaks. It's kind of like right this year, right? If we had Sonny Leon suddenly pick up the mount on Secret Oath, going to get into the Preakness Stakes, you go, well, all right, there's something else happening here. Let's go back even further to a horse that possibly, if not for Zenyatta, would be your favorite horse of all time. Tell me about 2007 in Curlin.
Yeah, absolutely. This one's amazing, and this one probably won't be number 2 on a lot of people's list, but the significance of Curlin is why he's number 2 on my list. This was an amazing performance. Curlin, if you are new to the site and never heard me tell the story, he's kind of the reason why we have a website. My first time that I ever visited a racetrack in person was the 2007 Arkansas Derby, and Curlin absolutely romped in that race. So as a younger fan of really trying to get into it, I was really down going into the Preakness because I thought, I'm a young idiot. I don't know anything. I thought for sure Curlin was a lock in the Derby. There's no way this horse will ever lose. So he loses. He gets third. I'm really down. And I'm watching him here in the Preakness, and I've got him bet again. And I'm still hopeful, but I'm like, I don't know about this racing stuff, right? And Street Sense passes him like I'm standing still. I'm like, damn it. I can't believe he's going to lose again. And then all of a sudden, here comes the big chestnut on the outside, and he did not give up. He dug in. It's almost like when Street Sense passed him, he said, nope, not today. He dug right in. They battle down the stretch. Curlin re-rallies, just gets him right at the wire in an incredible photo. That, I could honestly say the Arkansas Derby and Curlin started it, but the Preakness, maybe I've never been more excited after a race than the Preakness. It was just so cool to see that horse come back and win. And you don't often see a horse just get zoomed past kind of on the turn and then dig back in and come back and win. So that was incredible. Street Sense was an incredible horse too. Just a great horse, went on to do a lot of good stuff as well. But I was a Curlin guy because of that bias of seeing him at Oaklawn.
That 2007 crop, as far as the breeding goes, really left its stamp on horse racing in America. You had Curlin, Street Sense, and Hardspun, who was second in the Derby, gets third in the Preakness Stakes. The top 3 from the Derby, Aaron, not only ran back 2 weeks in the Preakness Stakes, but completed the trifecta again, albeit in a different order. So a unique running of the Preakness, a very exciting one. Not enough to be number 1 for you, though. This one it's a race that every time I watch the replay, I can't understand how does Jeremy Rose not fall off of a Fleet Alex, Aaron?
Yeah, it's really incredible. And this 2005 Preakness, it's one for the ages. It's one of the greatest races of all time because of what happened. And Fleet Alex, another horse. And again, in 2005, I wasn't really deeply immersed in the game, but I knew that Fleet Alex had won the Arkansas Derby. I knew about Oaklawn Park. I'd followed that circuit a little bit as far as their big races. And so I'd watched the Kentucky Derby, obviously. And again, really hopeful Fleet Alex would win it. He didn't. Giacomo beats him. He goes to the Preakness. He's starting to make that move. And I'm like, all right, not today. He's going to win. And then he nearly gets knocked down by Scrappy T. I mean, that horse just flew into him. Fleet Alex is down to 2 knees. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the worst thing I've ever seen. He's hurt. Nope. He gets up. Literally had to get up off the ground. Thank God Jeremy Rose stays in the saddle. I have no idea how he did. An unbelievable feat. Like, oh, good, he's fine. He's not going to win, but he's fine. No, not only does he win, he just re-rallies and goes right by him. That was I've never seen anything like that ever again, and I've watched many, many, many more races. After that, for sure. I've never seen anything like that again. I don't know if we ever will. Just incredible athleticism by the jockey, Jeremy Rose, and the horse. Give the horse a lot of credit. We've seen that happen to a horse, and they go down 99 times out of 100. So for him to stay up and then to win and then go on to just dominate the Belmont like he did, what a horse this guy was, right? I mean, to come out of that unscathed and win, and then 3 weeks later go and win the Belmont, it's pretty incredible.
After being third in the Kentucky Derby, I ran all 3 legs, and yep. This curious one in the middle, nope, still okay. Ends up being a great sire as well. That's Aaron Halterman's top 5 Preakness Stakes since he's been watching. But what are yours? This, like he said, it's not a debate. Love to hear from you. We've been watching the sport pretty recently compared to some of you who are following us. So if you're looking back at the 80s, the 70s, maybe, and that, let us know. Tell us who you think we should go check out. We'll check out some replays, and maybe we'll come back with another video for us. Tell us your thoughts in the comments section. Hit like before you leave. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And don't forget, 2022 Preakness Stakes. The Racing Dudes will have you covered with the Inside Track wagering guide. Available at racingdudes.com shortly. The draw is Monday afternoon. We'll be live covering all of that on the YouTube channel. Take care. We'll see you then.